60 years is no small feat. That's 6 decades. We're here tonight to celebrate, but also hear from our very own PYO, more about his life, his upbringing, his career, and where he is today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this interview. Good evening.
Good evening, Pastor.
It's lovely to see you. To get us started, we'll go for a quick fire round, this or that. So whichever is you, just let me know, okay? So to start, text or phone calls?
Definitely text.
Text. Foresee the future or change the past?
Foresee the future.
Foresee the future. Art gallery or history museum?
Art gallery.
Art gallery. To be an artist or to be an athlete?
To be an artist.
Artist, wow. To have more time or more money?
Yeah, I think more time.
More time. Interesting.
More time.
Jollof rice or fried rice?
I could almost say neither, but if I have to choose one, it'd be jollof rice.
Jollof rice. Spring or summer?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Summer, just a bit of a relaxation.
Yeah.
You can hear the waters, the waters lapping.
Yeah.
Holiday season.
Holiday.
That's it.
We all like some sun.
Yes.
Live theatre or movie?
Live theatre.
Live theatre.
Live theatre.
And finally, fiction or non-fiction?
Definitely non-fiction.
Non-fiction.
Definitely non-fiction.
Thank you for that, PYO. Thank you for giving us a bit of insight into your life. So to get us started, we're going to ask you a series of questions and we'll see where we go with it.
Okay.
And our very first question is, how do you feel about turning 60 and what does it mean to you?
It's an interesting one. I sort of run life in phases, and so when I was 30, I sort of have a clear picture of where I was, and when I was looking at 40, 50, and as 60 rolled around, it sort of put me in that mold of, what are we going to do with the next 10 years? Because I think ahead and foresee the future. And so I'm sort of in that frame of, wow, where did all the time go? One, I'm not that young anymore. Two,
You're not that old either.
not that old either, thankfully. 60, the new 40 or new 50.
Indeed.
And so it's exciting at once, and we're in a phase of life where many changes are coming about. And it's also a bit of a sense of, without sounding, I don't want to put this morbidly, but counting down.
Okay.
However long countdown might be.
So in your answer there, you mentioned about a season or a phase where changes are happening. Do you want to share a bit more about what changes are upon us?
I'm an open book, very
Great.
open.
Go for it.
You just need to listen to me minister 2 or 3 times and you know everything there is to know. So it's an interesting one. February, I'm turning 60, thank God. May, my daughter's getting married. October, my son's getting married. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, I'm also starting to plan, I'd put it this way, the next 5 years of my life.
Okay.
And starting to construct, by His grace and help, what that will look like.
Okay.
And certain unfinished business needs to start getting finished, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's safe to say that 2024 is going to be, well, it already is a very busy year for you.
Busy.
And obviously there's church, there's life goes on, yet you have to do all these other things. So tell us, how are you managing all of that and still, managing to carry along a congregation, a home, and whatever sort of advice the children might be asking of you in this season that you're in?
It's interesting. The way I'm wired, I'm very modular.
Okay.
I think in silos or boxes, as it were. And so at times I'm able to operate in this box,
Okay.
and everything else is still waiting, and it's fine. And then I move into that box, and then move to that box, and move to that box. And so I'm almost taking it one day at a time. So it's interesting. We have a project team for my daughter's wedding.
Right.
And so we have project.
It is a project. It's a project.
And so we have project meetings, and me turning 60, even though we're doing it in a slightly different fashion than how I did all my previous ones. My 40th was on a boat.
Wow.
My 50th was in Docklands. My 60th is at the Brook.
We like the Brook.
We like it.
So I sort of just put things in their own different compartments and try and keep it all going.
Yeah.
Okay.
And making sure I don't drop any balls.
Okay.
And making sure I discharge my responsibilities to the different constituencies.
Okay.
But thank God that I have a great team working with me.
That's great.
I couldn't do 1/4 of what I do alone. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I have a fantastic team in each of those areas, and so we're just working together.
Great.
Brilliant.
You're quite a forward-thinking person, as we've already uncovered during this interview so far. But I want us to take a step back and sort of reminisce over the past 60 years. Looking back at the 6 decades of your life, what moments stand out as the most significant in shaping your journey to becoming the man that you are today?
It's an interesting one, and it isn't one moment. It's probably there's a moment in my career, there's a moment in ministry, there's a moment in my relationship. So, but I think if I think about what shaped who I am, it probably goes back to the very beginning. I was born in the UK. My parents were very African-minded in their heritage, so much so that my baptismal name is Akinyemi. My dad refused to give me Joseph, James, and Peter.
Yeah.
Because he said to the clergy, his name is Akinyemi. What's his baptismal name? It's Akinyemi. So imagine that mindset.
Yeah.
So very early on, he realized we couldn't possibly grow up here and get that heritage. So he shipped us all back to Nigeria. Now, what then happened was, because I had been here for about 3.5 years, and my weekdays, they had kept me with a nanny, they, I think called them foster parents back then, while they go to work, and then they come get me on the weekend. That influenced me, gave me a bit of an anglicized beginning, if you like. And then we went to Nigeria, and I was way ahead of my peers. So they had to put me several classes ahead of my peers. That throughout life put me easily 3 years above, 2-3 years above my contemporaries. So much so that today, I'm probably the very youngest of all my friends, And as we went on, that influenced the things I did.
Right.
Graduated at 21, and so on and so forth. And so that's how come we are. So I'm a man in a hurry kind of thing.
Yeah.
Always pushing, always driven.
So I have a question that, obviously, I've heard you speak about portions of your childhood, and you kind of reference it ever so slightly there. So the question is, what is one piece of practical advice you would give a hypothetical teenager born in Peckham and being shipped off to Lagos tomorrow?
I'd say get integrated, because the one thing that tends to happen is that teenager is trying to hold on to what they're leaving behind and isn't making themselves available to learn and integrate in where they're going. And they lose out on both. So it would be, and that's one thing that thankfully I did well. Not by deliberate choice, I think it must have been by parenting and perhaps some internal mechanism. I was well integrated when I got back. I watched a lot of Yoruba movies. And that's what helped me actually, because I was bullied a lot. And so what I started doing was I started using lines from the programs I saw to curse them, so they became afraid of me, and then left me alone. Survival tactics.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
There you go. You are married to the very lovely
Thank God.
Pastor Jumoke, who we fondly know as PJ, and you have 2 wonderful kids who we've heard are getting married. What was the most important lesson you learned when you first became a husband and then when you became a father?
I think husband was probably easy. I'd say I married my friend. When I met PJ, I was sort of ready. I'd gone through a circumstance of life where I'd been shaken to my core. And so I told her within probably a month or thereabout of meeting her that she ticked my boxes and I want to marry her. And we spent the next year and a half interrogating one another.
Straight to it.
What would you like to do? What don't you like to do? I don't like this, I don't like that. And so the first 5 years of marriage, my goodness, was such a bliss. I used to talk about it everywhere. That, oh, my marriage is wonderful, my marriage is wonderful. Perhaps I should have kept my mouth shut. Because the next 5 was, my goodness, we went through it all. Wow. And then it's just been like that.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle,
Yeah.
And we are here. Parenting, on the other hand, I think I came into parenting with a clarity in my mind, which is again part of this forward-looking nature. I remember distinctly in my childhood. I remember the things I didn't like about my childhood, and I determined I was not going to do those with my children. So at every age of my children, I played back me when I was that age and what I didn't like in how I was raised. I mean, there were good things in how I was raised.
Absolutely.
I wasn't abused as a child or anything. I had a wonderful childhood, but I used that as my barometer to try and do it better, kind of thing. So, I managed my relationship with my children. Hopefully, I think they're my friends today. So hopefully, I did a few things right. Hopefully.